Chosen one, stop right there. Because if you keep going without realizing what's happening, you could miss something that won't come back the same way twice. This moment was set up for you to see it. You didn't stumble onto this by accident, and you're not hearing it at some random time. Something is shifting, and you were meant to notice it first. And the fact that you're still here, that's part of it. Lately, you've felt it, even if you can't explain it. Certain thoughts keep circling back. Numbers keep showing up at the strangest times. Dreams feel too real, like they're trying to tell you something. And moments keep repeating, like life is tapping you on the shoulder, saying, "Pay attention." Things that used to work for you don't hit the same anymore. Old plans, old expectations, even old hopes. It's like your spirit outgrew a version of your life, and now it's demanding an upgrade. And here's what you need to hear. That thing you've been quietly waiting for is moving closer. But this isn't the kind of moment that waits around until you feel ready. So if this is landing on you at the exact right time, type this in the comments. I accept, and I'm stepping into what's next. Not because I need it, but because your mind needs a marker that you chose this consciously. Because today, the world is moving in ways you can feel, even if you can't fully understand it yet. Even the night sky feels different, like everything is highlighting a window for clarity, motivation, and the kind of manifestation you've been trying to force for months. Science can explain orbits, gravity, cycles, but something deeper is happening beyond the math. Your prayers, your intentions, the things you've asked for when nobody was watching. They're getting answered in quiet ways first, and you might not even notice it at first, but people around you will. Small changes, tiny decisions, conversations that seem random. A shift in your energy that makes certain doors open without you pushing. Things you started a long time ago are connecting right now in ways you never planned, like pieces finally clicking into place. And listen, I'm not saying everything suddenly becomes perfect overnight. I'm saying alignment is happening, and when alignment happens, opportunities that felt impossible start to look reachable. The right people show up, the right option becomes obvious, the right moment finally stops running from you. This is only the beginning of a bigger change. What you feel in your chest right now, that subtle, something's different feeling you can't explain, that's the sign. And if you've been confused lately, you're not alone. Not long ago, your days felt heavy. Your thoughts wouldn't shut off. Your nights stretched longer than they should. Emotions hit you out of nowhere, and you didn't even know why. You may have asked yourself, why does my life feel slow right now? Why do answers feel so far away? Why does it seem like everybody else gets it, and I'm just trying to survive it? But that season wasn't pointless. It was shaping you in ways you couldn't see while you were inside it. There were nights you tried to stay strong, and the tears came anyway. And at midnight, when the world goes quiet, you sat with your own thoughts and wondered why your story had to be this hard. But here's what nobody tells you. Those moments weren't breaking you. They were building you. Because the pressure you felt wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every delay, every emotional wave, every closed door. It wasn't life rejecting you. It was life making room inside you for what's coming next. You weren't lost. You were being guided, even when you didn't realize it. And January 19th carries a strange kind of weight for people like you. Not fear, not drama, awareness. Because when you look at the clock and see repeating numbers, or glance at the calendar and feel that quiet, unexplainable knowing, that's not coincidence. That's your life reminding you you're still on track. even when the progress feels slow. And when you start understanding this, something inside you clicks. You realize growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens in stages, usually after confusion has done its job. And suddenly, you look back at what felt like mistakes, and you see training. What felt like delay starts to look like protection. And that shift in understanding, that's the transformation you've been waiting for. Not the loud kind, the deep kind, the kind that doesn't rush you. It calms you. Because now you realize not everybody could carry the depth you've been forced to carry. That's why your path has looked different. That's why you felt isolated at times. That's why the normal route never fit you. You were being shaped quietly, away from the noise. So when clarity showed up, you wouldn't ignore it. And as the emotion settles, you'll notice it. Your breathing slows down. Your chest feels lighter. Even the tears feel different, not heavy, freeing. Because you're not broken, you're waking up. And once that awareness turns on, you start seeing confirmations everywhere. 1111, 222, 444. A thought you had weeks ago returns with meaning. A memory suddenly makes sense. Something you dismissed comes back around, and now it's obvious why. These signs don't beg for your attention. They simply remind you you're supported. This isn't about escaping your past. It's about finally understanding it. Because when understanding arrives, strength shows up naturally, and you begin to realize what you asked for a long time ago is already unfolding. Not in a loud explosion, but in a steady, undeniable way. A miracle doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it shows up as peace returning to your mind. Sometimes it looks like confidence where doubt used to live. That's how real change begins. And as January 19th moves forward, trust what you're sensing. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it doesn't look like it yet. Because the work you've been doing inside yourself, it's not going unnoticed. It's being rewarded now. And as this moment settles in, one thing becomes clear. You're ready for what's next. Not rushed, not desperate, calm, steady, certain. Tonight, you may start noticing small shifts that feel oddly meaningful, even if they look ordinary on the surface. The world around you seems the same, but your awareness expands. And this is where it gets interesting. This connects to January 19th, a window where meaning becomes easier to recognize. Nothing is forced. Nothing is rushed. Things just align in a way that feels right. You might notice your sleep feels different, not necessarily more visual, but more emotional. You wake up carrying a feeling you can't fully explain, and it stays with you longer than usual. That's your inner world processing truth, releasing old weight. And what rises up isn't fear, it's understanding. You'll also notice coincidences stacking softly. You think of someone, and their name appears a moment later. A memory comes up, and that same day, a message or conversation connects to it. Not loud, just precise. And it's a reminder. Timing matters. Your life isn't random. Your steps are being guided. You may feel emotional waves come out of nowhere. One minute you're calm, the next, something deep rises up. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It means old layers are peeling off, and every wave clears space for stability. Because when it passes, you don't feel drained. You feel lighter. You'll notice decisions start feeling easier. You know what to say yes to. You know what to release. And what's wild is you don't have to overthink it. It just feels natural. That's intuition strengthening, not through effort, but through experience. At night, when the moonlight sits over everything, you may get reflective. The sky feels bigger. The stars remind you life is larger than your daily routine. And that quiet doesn't feel mysterious. It feels comforting, like your life fits into something bigger than you've been able to see. Even the way you deal with people begins to shift. You feel less need to explain yourself. You listen more. You respond with calm confidence. That's alignment growing inside you. You're not chasing approval the same way. You recognize your own value. And you may notice certain words, songs, or phrases repeating around you. Not as noise, as reminders. Each repetition reinforces what you already feel inside. This isn't about predictions, it's about confirmation. Even solitude starts to feel different. You enjoy the quiet without needing distractions. Silence feels safe, not empty. And in that space, you reconnect with what's real in you. You understand yourself without forcing it. Faith grows quietly. Prayer feels more natural, less like begging, and more like trust. And you feel heard without needing proof. That creates a deeper confidence. You're supported even when nothing big is happening. Your focus sharpens. You can tell what matters and what doesn't. Daily choices feel lighter. You stop carrying what was never yours. Relief replaces pressure. Motivation returns in simple ways. Tasks don't feel so heavy. You move forward without pushing the pace. Progress feels steady and real. And when you look back at your past, it starts to feel organized instead of chaotic. The pieces make sense. You see why things happened when they did. Acceptance replaces regret. And other people may notice before you do. They hear calm in your voice. They feel supported around you. That's alignment expanding outward, not just inward. As these moments continue, your confidence strengthens. You stop rushing to decode every sign. You notice them, and you let them pass without stress. Trust replaces urgency. And this alignment isn't loud. It's consistent. It doesn't demand attention. It simply stays with you. Because what's unfolding now is preparing you for the next stage. Not through pressure, but through readiness. And when the time comes, you'll know. No doubt, no confusion. Just a clear, steady certainty. Tonight marks the beginning of a deeper understanding. And what comes next won't feel forced. It will feel natural, comforting, and almost custom-made for you. And I need you to hear this clearly. This message is arriving as reassurance, not pressure. You're being spoken to gently because you're ready to hear the truth without fear. What used to feel confusing doesn't get to run your life anymore. Something is forming inside you, steady, grounded, and it's already guiding your next steps with a quiet strength. Because you've carried more than most people ever saw. You stayed present when everything felt uncertain. You kept moving, even when progress felt slow. None of that was wasted. Every moment built your ability to trust what you feel now. You're not behind. You're not lacking. You're prepared in a way only real experience can create. So what's being asked of you now isn't more effort. It's trust. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to rush. The moment you loosen your grip on control, support becomes easier to notice. The moment you stop resisting, direction starts to feel natural. You're allowed to rest in certainty. And yes, you might remember times you felt alone in your choices. But those moments taught you something powerful: how to trust yourself without needing approval. That strength is part of you now. It isn't going anywhere. You're supported even when nobody says it out loud. And hope isn't something you chase anymore. It's something you carry. It shapes how you react, how you wait, how you decide. Because you're learning something most people never learn. Patience isn't delay. It's trust in the right timing for your life. And surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of fear-based control. When you release fear, you make room for trust. And when you choose trust, calm replaces pressure. You're not being tested, you're being guided, not through chaos, but through steady moments, steady outcomes, and consistent growth. And you're learning to recognize that voice inside you. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't confuse you. It steadies you. Your inner knowing has matured. It doesn't panic anymore. It responds. That's why you can move forward with a confidence that doesn't need validation. And even when doubt shows up, it doesn't stay, because you stopped feeding it. You've learned that belief is built through action, not just thoughts. Every choice you make now strengthens your trust in yourself, and you're starting to see the truth. Nothing meaningful was taken from you. What left your life created space. What stayed taught you value. What challenged you shaped your wisdom. Everything contributed to who you're becoming, and support surrounds you in ways you may not even realize yet. It shows up as timing, as protection, as guidance that feels natural. You were never separated from it. You're simply aware of it now. Faith grows quietly inside you, without strain. You don't need constant signs to believe. You recognize alignment by the peace your decisions carry. Trust replaces urgency. Understanding replaces worry. So move forward with your head up. You're not alone. Each step meets readiness. Each decision meets support. And let this message be your confirmation. You are exactly where you need to be. You are becoming who you were meant to be. Without force, without fear, without doubt. It starts without drama, but everything changes. There comes a moment when your thoughts stop racing and your attention locks onto what matters. Nothing outside has to shift for that to happen. The change happens internally, steady and firm, like a decision finally made. You feel it because the weight you've carried for so long doesn't require effort anymore. It simply releases. And that's where waiting ends. Not because something new gets added, but because something old is no longer needed. You notice it immediately. The doubts that used to shout lose their power. The pressure to explain yourself fades. You're not trying to become someone. You're allowing yourself to be who you already are. Before this, confusion ran your days. You tried to understand everything at once, replayed the past, wondered why progress felt slow, even when you were doing everything you could. But those thoughts don't control you now. They return to their proper place, useful as memory, not as commands. And the relief you feel isn't hype. It's a calm certainty. You feel steady without effort. You're not being pulled in every direction by opinions, fear, or urgency. The need to rush disappears. Time feels like support, not a threat. And you realize every struggle had a purpose, not to break you, but to prepare you to stand without fear. Every challenge trained your focus. Every delay taught patience. Every loss clarified what matters. None of it was wasted. And this shift won't announce itself loudly. It speaks through understanding. You see yourself clearly, without judgment. You accept your strength without apologizing. You accept your limits without shame. And that balance gives you a confidence that doesn't depend on approval. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts, your actions, and your values stop fighting each other. Choices get simpler because you know what matters. Decisions stop feeling heavy. You trust yourself enough to choose without hesitation. And you may notice memories returning, not to hurt you, but to show you how far you've come. Moments that once felt painful now feel distant. They remind you of your progress. You stop wishing it happened differently, You understand why it unfolded the way it did. This is your inner world reorganizing. What once felt scattered now feels ordered. You're not searching for meaning anymore. You're living inside it. Purpose stops feeling like pressure. It feels natural. And the confidence growing in you isn't arrogance. It's steadiness. You stop explaining yourself to people who never listened. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop questioning your worth. Because now you know it, through experience. And that changes your relationship with the future. You don't fear what's coming. You feel ready, not because you know every detail, but because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes. That confidence wasn't handed to you overnight. You earned it. And you may feel a new level of responsibility, but it won't crush you. It will steady you, because you understand your choices matter, not just for you, but for the impact you have on others. That awareness doesn't bring fear, it brings care. And inside you, you can feel an opening, like clear space forming where doubt used to live. You step into that space without resistance, and it holds you, it guides you, it reminds you who you are when you're not trying to impress and not trying to protect yourself. The old version of you already fulfilled its purpose. It helped you survive. It taught you what you needed to learn, and you can honor it without dragging it into your future. Growth doesn't require rejecting your past. It requires gratitude and release. And you're starting to notice the proof. Your reactions have changed. Things that used to hijack your mood don't control you like they used to. You pause before you respond. You choose your words with intention. You listen to understand instead of listening to defend. That's not self-help. That's real transformation. Your energy stays more stable throughout the day. You don't get drained by things that don't matter. You're investing your time with more wisdom, protecting your focus, valuing your presence. And here's the part most people miss. This kind of change also makes you more honest. You stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You stop hiding what you need. You respect your limits. And instead of pushing people away, that honesty strengthens your relationships and your self-respect. You also feel clearer about your priorities. You know what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Distractions lose their shine. You choose depth over noise, meaning over habit. Not because someone convinced you, but because you've experienced what it feels like to be aligned. And when you finally see that timing has been on your side, even when it felt slow, it changes how you face challenges. They stop feeling like threats and start feeling like opportunities to apply what you've learned. You meet them with readiness instead of resistance. Your inner voice becomes steady and comforting. It doesn't pressure you. It doesn't overwhelm you. It guides you and reminds you who you are when you forget. And when you feel that familiar time pressure trying to rush you, that voice brings you back. You don't need to control everything. You focus on what's in your hands and release what isn't. That balance is freedom. You don't look back with regret. You don't look forward with fear. You're here, grounded, aware, present. And from this place, your actions carry weight. Your words land differently. Your presence influences more than you realize. You don't have to announce this shift. People will feel it in how you move, how you listen, how you choose. This is where destiny changes, not because the world forces it, but because you're finally ready to receive what's been preparing for you. And that's why January 19th matters here, not as pressure, as permission, a calm invitation to slow down and care for yourself with intention. The days ahead won't demand force. They'll reward awareness, patience, and trust. What matters now is how you manage your time, your thoughts, and your energy. Because right now, Small choices guide you more than big plans. Rest is not optional in this phase, not avoidance. Real recovery, the kind that lets your nervous system rebalance. Sleep when you need to. Step away from screens and constant noise. Give yourself moments where nothing is expected of you. That space is where clarity returns on its own. Take a moment to notice what energizes you and what drains you. No judgment, no guilt, just awareness. Journaling helps. So does sitting alone for a few minutes each day. No distractions, just you. And gratitude matters right now, but not the fake kind, not forced positivity, genuine gratitude. What's stable in your life? Who shows up for you? The effort you've made to keep going. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to steadiness, and that changes how your whole day feels. And here's a line you might need to hear twice. Surrender doesn't mean giving up control of your life. It means letting go of the obsession to control outcomes. Do your part, and let time do its part. When you stop forcing results, stress loses its grip. When you trust the right pace, peace starts showing up naturally. If uncertainty hits, and it will sometimes, return to the simple routine. Eat well, hydrate, move your body in a way that feels good. Those basics signal safety to your system. And yes, the energy of this period can feel cosmic. But it doesn't demand belief. It favors awareness. You may notice your thoughts becoming more organized, your decisions less impulsive, your choices calmer, because not everything needs to happen all at once. Some answers arrive through patience. Some progress happens quietly through consistency. And connection matters too. Reach out to someone who supports you. Share a meal. Have a simple conversation. Human connection pulls you out of overthinking and back into the present. And your spiritual side doesn't need complicated rituals. It lives in your honesty, your kindness, your willingness to listen to yourself. Meaning doesn't need to be chased. It reveals itself through awareness. This is a balancing season, work and rest, planning and flexibility. When you make room for both, life feels more livable. You may feel inspired to simplify. And that's not random. Decluttering your space can declutter your mind. Let go of habits and items that no longer match who you are. Simplicity reduces overwhelm, and faith here isn't blind belief. It's trust built from evidence. You've survived hard seasons before. You adapted. You learned. You're still here. That's why this spiritual tone feels supportive, not demanding. You're not being tested. You're being held. And sometimes, a miracle doesn't look like a sudden surprise. It looks like relief. So if doubts pass through, don't fight them, and don't feed them. Doubt doesn't mean failure. It means you care. Let it pass. Then bring your attention back to what you can do today. Stop comparing your pace to someone else's. Everyone has a different rhythm. Stay with yours and trust that it's enough. Over the next days, you'll feel a quiet confidence forming. Not rushed, not desperate, present. And that presence is what lets you respond instead of react. Most people move through life assuming timing is random and support is far away. But you've felt something different, even if you can't name it yet. That feeling isn't imagination, it's recognition. You notice meaning where others see coincidence. You feel direction where others feel lost. That's not luck. That's alignment working quietly in your favor. And support doesn't always show up as an answer. Sometimes it shows up as resilience, sometimes as patience, sometimes as the strength to keep going when you could have quit. You received what you needed at each stage. Faith doesn't require certainty. It grows through trust, and trust grows when you rest instead of forcing. When you stop demanding proof and allow time to guide you, peace arrives naturally. You're learning that surrender isn't weakness. It's trusting something bigger than fear. You're not behind. You're not off track. You're not forgotten. Every step you took, even the uncertain ones, prepared you for this awareness. You have the right to believe things can work out for you. You have the right to expect support. You have the right to release pressure. Drop the idea that you must struggle to deserve good things. What's meant for you responds to acceptance, not force. And as we close this message, do this. Let yourself feel the calm that comes with understanding. Nothing needs to be decided right now. Nothing needs to be proven. Carry this certainty with you. Let it shape how you speak to yourself. Let it guide how you respond when challenges show up. You're not alone in your choices. What comes next will meet you when you're ready. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to fear it. The trust has already been built inside you.